everyone. I will tell you about the R&Dialogue project. We started off with R&Dialogue, trying to better understand how we can improve the dialogue between society and the different societal stakeholders, the research community, and make technological innovation better known and absorbed so that society can use and make the best of what research produces to implement new energy strategies that can bring us to a low-carbon society. So I think also this morning and yesterday we have heard words like convincing, explaining. An alternative could be to have a dialogue. So rather than going this way, we could have a dialogue for a new energy system. And this drawing was made during the final event of R&Dialogue by an artist who we involved in the event. I think it somehow helps us get into the topic of my presentation today, because you see somebody who might be a citizen or a representative of a civil society organization, or anyone who is protesting with regard to some technology or new power plant or whatever. And the same person in the drawing is then dialoguing with other stakeholders in a completely different attitude situation. So this is more or less like going from one situation to another situation where people can talk together and decide together and understand together what are the best options for the energy development, instead of trying to make decisions based on conflict and on different ideas which do not merge or do not make synergies together. So the challenge is quite important. As we said, we thought that an important part of it is improving the relationship between the research community and the other societal stakeholders. There are different dimensions to this. So there is the need to learn from each other, and this was an important feature in R&Dialogue, and try to implement actions that can help us overcome the way that scientists see the development of the energy systems and the rest of society sees it. So what does a low-carbon development entails for different stakeholders and how to harmonize them? This means that we have to sort of change the way we are doing things presently and develop a kind of new culture, a new mentality, through dialogue, which helps us avoid confrontation and find synergies. So in R&Dialogue, we have tried to unite forces from 10 different European countries with 16 partners, and 5 of them are also CO2GeoNet members. The idea was to have organizations, so representatives of organizations having a dialogue, to develop a joint vision. So how do we see this future low-carbon society, and how can we achieve it? Which actions should be implemented to achieve it? Of course, to do this, we also need to understand how to improve dialogue and mutual learning. So the dialogue that we have established was a multi-stakeholder dialogue, so not just researchers by themselves or industry by themselves or policymakers, but all of them trying to have a dialogue together. And for doing this, we have used a psychological approach which has considered the emotional side of the issue, not just the rational one, working on the relationships between the different stakeholders. Again, our artist in Brussels sort of translated one of our slides with the key pillars of R&Dialogue, the dialogue in the 10 countries, which was brought together in a European learning through the continuous social process support all through the project for the whole duration of the dialogue. In the end, we produced a vision, and I'm not going to illustrate this vision. There is no time. You can read it. There is a document which you can find online. What is important really is that we have realized, and I would also like to communicate this to you, that it takes really a long time before people are in the condition to actually discuss technologies. So the energy choices, whether it's the energy mix or the strategy for a low carbon society, need to be first discussed in the more global context and be understood what is the direction that we want society to go towards, to be able then afterwards to start discussing single technologies and the role that each technology can play. So creating this space for dialogue and for discussion of the energy development is a priority, which will help us discuss the single technology. Principles we have used and identified through the work, principles for the energy dialogue. Once again, you can find it all in the slides or in our vision. And we have used in the project a number of techniques that can be approaches, also not just techniques, but complex approaches that can help to connect the energy world with society. This is a photograph of citizens participating to our activities. And so we have identified some of the actions, some of the building blocks which could lead us to this new low-carbon society. And again, I have to go quickly. I would just like to stress that for CCS, it might be particularly important to make more explicit the values that are behind this kind of energy choice. A very important aspect is the need to harmonize all the different ways of working, of thinking, of implementing things, because these differences are important obstacles to the collaboration between the stakeholders. So inclusion of dialogue in current practices, institutional practices in policy making, for example, but also in industrial processes, would be important not only to create synergies, but also to provide psychological support to everyone to face the challenges for going towards a low-carbon society, which are really complex. And so no one has a single fix or a single answer. And we really would take advantage of this kind of psychological climate, which could help everyone. This is very quickly concerning CCS in particular. Because as I said, some of us were coming from are members of CO2GeoNet, and also many other partners in the project were working on CCS when we started. So there was a particular value of this project for CCS, and what I would say very quickly now is that it really it would be important to place CCS and look at CCS from a different perspective. And here are some of the levels that need to be considered and which have emerged through the work we have done. And once again, remind to everyone that placing CCS in the bigger context and being present in the wider discussion on energy strategies is prior to being able to discuss the specific technology. And even if in the project we did not work specifically on content of single technologies and technological aspects, we can see that CCS was the technology that more than any other was the object of mutual learning by the stakeholders who participated in the long-term dialogue activities. So you can find online a European dialogue report where it's interesting to see all the differences between the different countries and all the different challenges met in relationship to the culture of each country. There is a brochure which summarizes the main outputs of the project, and there is the vision, as I already presented, and the video also, which sort of presents in a few minutes the key words of the R&Dialogue experience. So to close, I would like to say that probably the technical Europe needs to find a better integration with what are the human sides of these energy choices, and there are out there a lot of people, stakeholders, civil society organizations who are eager to get an involvement and play their role in making this new society where we can have more satisfactory energy technologies at the same time meet all the demands for energy needs. And once again, thank you to all those who were involved. Thank you to the Commission, and thank you to you listening to this presentation at this time of the day. And for any information, you can contact me.